Well, how y'all are this afternoon? This is your buddy George Jones over at the Bergen Gun Range with my next installment on A. Creators like to get out there and make videos of their favorite guns, what they like and what they don't like, and so on and so forth. You know, and I'm not real crazy with that concept of video creation. But here's the deal. I want to be a member of the group too, you know. So what do I like? Well, what are my favorites? Well, I tell you, in 22s, I like this. This is a 930. This is a 929. Harrington Richardson 22 long rifle, 9-shot, double action, plain Jane revolvers. They really work good. You can't beat them with a stick, and I've always liked them ever since I was a kid. What else do I like in 22? Well, this is the first handgun I ever owned. This is an RG66 22 long rifle Western style revolver. I bought this from a total stranger at the flea market when I was about 16 years old. And I don't think my mom and dad would have liked me having it, but I knew I was a responsible person. So, you know, I would sneak it out and go to the wildlife management area and shoot it, and use it for hunting and plinking, which is its intended purpose, you know. And I'm 65 years old, so I've had this gun for 49 years. You know, I used to shoot the, I used to use this in a trick shot artist show at an Old West theme park when I was in my teens. I mean, it wasn't a Colt New Frontier, but it worked. It's a good gun. I've had it all this time. Recently I updated to this guy, the Super Strangler, or Super Wrangler. I've owned a lot of Ruger single action revolvers over the years. You know, some of them are better than this one, but the ones that are better than this one, you can't buy for what this one costs. You know, so I kind of like it. It's a pretty good gun. The Ruger Standard Model Automatic. I have had a love affair with this gun from the day I could afford to buy one. I think I bought one of these when I was about 20, and it cost something in the neighborhood of $90. That was a standard model. They came out since then with the standard model Mark 1, Mark 2, Mark 3, Mark 4. I think they've got a standard model 76 now. But this is a Mark II. Well, I had a standard model for many, many, many years. I mean, we were talking, I had it probably for 40 years. And I was working for Brag About It Guns and Ammo, and this came in on an estate, and it's a 50-year anniversary commemorative gun. And I liked it a lot. So I did a little dog whistling and hanging around and goofing off and bare knee begging, and come up with a pretty good price for them from this one, and went ahead and bought it. That was 2014, so I've had this one 10 years. I like it so much, I've got like 20 magazines for it. It's a pretty good gun. I've owned a lot of Ruger pistols, 22 pistols over the years. Then there's this one. I assembled guns for Apache Armaments for several years. Built AR-15s, repaired M16s for police departments, you know, and a variety of other things. And they bought out a company in Princeton called, should I say the name? No, I won't. They bought a company in Princeton that did custom gun work, okay? So some people would buy a new lower for a Ruger pistol with a bunch of fancy trigger work on it, and they would keep the old lower, trade it in, you know. And then some people wanted a fancier top to go on their Ruger pistol. So they, you know, trade parts in and trade guns and do things. And this company had a lot of Ruger parts, a lot of 1022 parts, a lot of barrels, a lot of stocks, a lot of receivers, a lot of trigger groups, a lot of trigger group parts, you know. And I set about building myself a custom target Ruger standard model Mark II bull barrel, adjustable sights, you know, everything like that. And this gun I've had this gun about 16 years. Put a Wilson Combat thumb magazine release on it. You know, that's why I don't buy a new Mark III or whatever that's got a button release on it, because I've got these. You know, I like this, I like it a lot. Tag driving gun. I've always liked Mark IIs. Centerfire handguns. Well, I tell you, I've got a 1911 illness. Got a 1911 illness. Here's 1911. I built from GI Parts a couple of weeks ago. It's got a T-sauce frame on it, all Colt internals, and it's got an Ithaca Gun Company slide on it. Yeah, World War II Ithaca slide. It's not the best 1911 I got, but it's all right. It's a good one. Works. Everybody sees and wants to buy it. I'm not in the business of selling guns privately, so, you know, I don't work out. Somehow I wound up with two T-sauce GIs. I bought one new a couple of years ago when they first come out, you know, and bought one new when they first come out a couple of years ago. And then I stumbled across one in a pawn shop used, you know, and the proprietor of the pawn shop was like, if it doesn't say Colt on it, it's a replica, and priced accordingly. So I bought the used one at a very low price, more than reasonable, I thought. They sell new $400, and it was considerably less than $400, considerably less than $300, you know. But it was, I don't get these guys with, oh, that's a replica. Buddy, that sumbitch will fire a good hot 230 grain ball at anything that walks or crawls in America. And a replica is supposed to hang on your man cave wall because it don't work. Okay? This is not a replica. Shoots live ammo, it ain't a replica. Maybe a continuation or a copy, but it's not a replica. I bought one of these years ago. This is a Rock Island Armory. This guy's loaded too. I'm still loaded them from the chute. This is the Rock Island Armory standard 1911 GI in caliber 9mm. You talk about a soft shooting, pleasant shooting, straight shooting little gun. This is it. This is, as far as I'm concerned, they make all kinds of fancy ones, but as far as I'm concerned, this is the one to have. I like it. Revolvers. You know, I don't have a lot of, I got what I like. I always did like Ruger, Security 6s and things like that. But I let my cousin Ed talk me out of my 2 Security 6s years ago, and I've never bothered to buy another one. 357 Magnum 4-inch revolver, that's what I like. And I like this one. This is the L frame in blued. Now, I bought this gun when it very first come out. long time before YouTube. Okay, and I've had this gun for a long time, and you notice it's got a lot of blue wear on it and a lot of scratches. It's been a lot of places. I've killed wild hogs with this gun. I was in 2 sustained gun battles carrying this gun, you know, and it, you know, it's a serious gun. Good 357 Magnum, shoots straight, had thousands and thousands of full house Magnums run through it, you know. A real serious, real hard deal gun. And I always wanted one in 6-inch, but you know, nowadays I'm just not going to put forth that kind of money for it, you know. And they don't make them as good as this one anymore, I don't think. Another gun that I think a whole lot of is this. I always like the concept of the 2-inch barrel 38 or 357 caliber revolver. Some years ago, I stumbled across one of these. This is the Speedy, or Speed 6. And I kind of like the 10-8, the Model 10-8 Smith & Wesson, which is a 2-inch barrel Model 10, you know, but I like this one a lot better. It's called a Speedy or a Speed 6 because it was designed to be an undercover gun. Everything on it is rounded. There's no sharp edges on it or anything. The only thing you can possibly catch on your clothing or anything is the hammer. Okay? And them 8 Speeds didn't have a hammer spur on them. You know, the grip is bigger than a 38 Smith, bigger than a round butt 10-8, bigger than a Model 36 or a Chief or a 60. You know, easier to handle, easier to fire, and you can put 350, you can put plus P's in this gun, and it's a fairly comfortable gun, even though it's a 2-inch. Kind of on the heavy side, but it's okay. I mean, you know, you got a good heavy-duty leather holster and a good belt and a good pair of suspenders. You know, you can carry this gun quite comfortably. Well, that's about the size of it for my favorite handguns. Yeah, I probably got a problem with 1911s. I like stars too. I don't know how I wound up getting over here without the Star BM, but I like Star pistols as well. I don't like the newer ones very much. I like the B, the BKM, and the BM. You know, I like the old Star PD, but you can't find one of them anymore. I had one, and I shot it and shot it and shot it until finally it started to play out, and I got rid of it. The new ones, the Superstars and the Firestars and like that, kind of clunky and heavy, whereas the B, the BM, and the BKM are very slim and elegant and nice. Okay then, that's about the size of it for this installment on 8. Let's look at all my junk guns. I've got a lot more junk guns, and if this video gets good reviews and good comments, I'll make another one like it. All right then. God bless America. God bless Donald Trump. God bless the NRA. And God bless the USA. And we'll see you when we see you. Bye now. Well, how y'all are? You don't see something cute? This is a parachute survival knife. Okay? Now, they always issued switchblades to paratroopers from day one. Okay, in World War II, they issued the individual paratrooper. Okay, you had to have your switchblade. It was on your inventory. In the 1950s, they came up with this design, which they have continually manufactured for years and years. And this design is in use today. Now, on a U.S. parachute today, or I believe, there's a pocket in the shoulder strap. An extra piece of material sewn in right about here. And in that pocket is the packer's tag. The guy that's responsible for packing that parachute. His tag is in there. Also in there is one of these. Now the reason for this is, what if you get stuck in a tree? Okay? Or get stuck somewhere in a bad way and you need to have a little bit less parachute canopy, like hanging in a tall ass tree. So you get this guy. Yeah, kind of a handy thing to have. It's a lock blade. You can lock the blade. Okay, unlock it, push the button, fold it back up. Lock it back by means of this little slider right here. Okay, so you get that guy out, you get it unlocked, push the button, there you go. Technically, it's a switchblade. A lot of states, you're not allowed to have a switchblade, period. I don't know why, because you can get all kinds of flicky-doogle things to put on a pocket knife to make it open just as fast as a switchblade. But this is, in fact, a mechanical switchblade. It has another feature, which is this hook knife, which is pretty handy for cutting shroud lines. If you've got time to get it open, because you've got to open it by hand, you can hook that shroud line. If you get stuck in a tree, you know, what you do is you take the shroud lines on one side and just cut one line at a time. And eventually, you'll get to where that parachute goes a sliding out, pulling out of that tree on the strong side, and will let you down a little bit. Of course, you can also get out on your reserve, if you've got one. And in the old days, paratroopers had let-down ropes. So they could take their let-down rope, which is about 40 feet long, tie it into their parachute harness, release themselves from their harness hanging onto the parachute let-down rope, and let themselves down, which was a good idea. That's why you always see Band of Brothers and movies like that. You always see these guys running around with this big long coil of rope hanging off their belt, because they would keep it in case they needed it for something else. But the idea was that they could pull down on that riser and start cutting them shroud lines, and maybe it would ease them off down out of the tree and not drop them to their death. Little something to look at. I thought you'd be interested. All right then, see y'all.